and welcome to Thursdays with Annette. It's Annette here, coming to you from my Simply Too Good kitchen. And today we're going into my favourite book at the moment, is The More Cooking for One or Two. It is so jam-packed with some fabulous recipes, lots and lots and lots of new ones. And one of them that has been asked about, because people say, please Annette, will you show me how to make the vanilla slice? So that's the recipe I'm going to do for you today. It's really easy, and I want you to get excited about it, because a traditional vanilla slice, I'll tell you later, is not for healthy people. And so I'm going to make this recipe for you today, and it's just in a couple of things. You've got the pastry, and you've got the custard, and you've got the icing. All right, so I've preheated my oven to 220 degrees. It's a hot oven because of the pastry, and you do that first. So this is what I'm using. I'm using the light, if you can see it, it's light puff pastry. It makes a difference. It's much lower in fat than the full fat puff pastry. I've never used it in the books before, but I have in this one. And I've done the, last week I did the Indian pasties using this, so I showed you a savoury way, and now I'm going to show you a sweet way, because that way you can use it up. Now this is Bill's favourite, so he's very excited. And what I've done is I've actually preempted, and I've made a custard up ahead so that it's set, so we can keep going with it. So we'll end up with 2 batches, so Bill's very excited. All right, so let's look at the ingredients we need for this fabulous recipe. Straight up, we need the pastry, and I'll show you how to do that. You only need half a sheet, so put the other half back and use it next time you want to make it. But I find I often make a double batch because it's so popular, because you get 4 serves of vanilla slice with this. You need a cup of skim milk, and I will tell you a dairy-free way to use this as well. So it's a cup of skim milk, 2 tablespoons of the white sugar, 3.5 tablespoons of custard powder, and you want 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla essence. So that's the custard. So there's the pastry, there's the custard, and then the icing is 3 tablespoons of sifted icing sugar, a teaspoon of skim milk, 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla essence, and I've got my pink colouring. And I'll tell you how you can do it with different coloured icings if you wish as we go on. So let's get started. I've got my tray here. I've got 2 trays. I'll explain it to you in a minute. I'm going to spray the base. Oh no, this is the one I want to use, sorry. Spray the base. So it's ready to go. So I've got that there. And you do need 2 trays. I'll explain it to you in a minute. It's very clever. Whoever wrote the recipe is very smart. All right. Oh, I've got 2 in here. Oh, look, there's a half. See, that just shows you. I've kept it there, and that's how it is. But I'm going to show you how to cut it from here. Okay, so we get our knife and we get our ruler. Where's my ruler? I want it to be accurate, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure, and it's semi-frozen still. I'm going to do a 2 1/4. So there. 12 1/4, I should say, not 2. I'm looking at the numbers. And then I'm going to go over here and do a half. So it's 24, so that's 12 and a bit. And I'm going to just cut, as you saw with that other piece that I've got left over from when I made it before. It's waiting for another time, because it freezes well. All right, so now I'm going to cut it down here. I'm going to cut it through the blue paper. Did I do it? Yes. And I'm going to put this, I'm going to put it back in, because you want to keep it still a bit frozen. Billy's going to pop it out in the freezer for me, because we don't need that other half. Now I'm going to make this into the half here. Here we go. And I'm going to now put it on the tray that, remember, we sprayed the 2 pieces of the light puff. Now I don't want it to puff up with the vanilla slice. So what we do is just put the other one on top. So it sits in. We're going to bake this now for 12 minutes at that high temp. If you've got a very hot oven, you might want to do 11 minutes. So just see how you go. All right, so that's the pastry done. And I've actually got, if Bill, you want to pass me, I just want to show you, I've got my 2 sheets already done because I wanted to do it all in one go. So here are my 2 pastry sheets ready to go. And as I say, you cut it into 4. Now we're going to make the custard. And I want you to keep it on a fairly low temp. Actually, I might turn it off for a minute. I like to put in everything first. So I'm using a big saucepan, mainly because I want it to be quick for the show. Don't need to use it that big. Cup of skim milk, 2 tablespoons of sugar, and 3.5 tablespoons of the custard powder. And when you're measuring it, make sure you flatten it against the side of the container so you get the exact amount. And remember, my tablespoons are 15 mils. Actually, Bill, can you get me the corn flour? I'm just going to show them how I measure it. I just think I'd like you to be clear on it. 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla. Thank you, Bill. So the custard powder, when you're measuring, because it needs to be accurate, get your tablespoon. Oh, wrong one. Get your tablespoon, and when you're doing it, push it to the edge, like I said, and I want it pushed in flat. Don't just do it like that. I want it pushed to the side, and voila, okay? No problem. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, I've done the essence, I've done the sugar, I've done the custard powder. I'm just using my whisk to blend it all together, and now I'll turn my heat on. And I put it at a lower, sort of moderate heat, because we don't want to burn the bottom of the custard. I stir it the whole time. So we can just have a chat while this is happening. Hey, do you know what? The traditional vanilla slice, which us Aussies absolutely love, has about 500 calories and about 39 grams of fat a slice. You'll be pleased to know that my guilt-free version has 163 calories, I know, and 2.4 grams of fat. Now, if you wanted to make it dairy-free, it's a little bit higher. It's 3.1 grams of fat, but that's using the no-fat almond milk, or you could use the soy milk, but no-fat soy, and that makes that dairy-free. And it's really good. I've made it several times for dairy-free. I really can't tell the difference in it. But when you're making this, it will be thick, because the custard has to be thick to hold between the pastry. When you put your mush into it, you don't want it just squishing out everywhere all over your nice clothes. So it has to be fairly firm. And as I said, just have it on a lower temperature so it's not going to burn. Now, as I said, the fat count, 2.4 for using skim milk, and with the dairy-free, it's 3.1 if you're using the almond milk. Oh, look, it's thickening up now. Here we go, I'll turn that off. Now, what I'm going to do is, see how it's got a bit frothy? See that? I'm going to make sure you watch, I'm going to combine it until that froth is gone. I'll show you in a sec. See, this is good to be able to watch it, isn't it? Because it just, the little tips make all the difference. See there? See how the froth's all gone? Perfect. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to scrape it into a bowl. Look at that beautiful custard. And I'm going to put it in the fridge, because obviously you've got to wait for this to cool and set. Okay. So what I do now is, so you don't get a skin on the top of your custard, I'm going to put some cling wrap on the top of the custard. So there's no air going to get to the custard, because that's how a skin forms when it goes from hot to cold custard. So just push that in, go right to the edges so you can see that it's all got the cling wrap. There we go. And put that in the fridge. Thank you, Billy. And here's my pre-custard done. Let me get rid of this so I've got more space. All right. So we've got that done, that done. I've got to just make the icing. So I'll do that in a minute. There we go. Now the custard will be firm. So when you look at it, look, it's really quite firm. So what I need you to do, and I tell you in the recipe, is to mash it all up. So spend a bit of time mixing it together. And just remember that when I measured my custard powder, my 3.5 tablespoons, it was using my measure spoons so that you've got the 15 ml. If you've got a 20, it won't work because it'll be too firm. So 15 ml, that's 3 teaspoons. So if you've only got the bigger spoons, you might struggle with a lot of my recipes. All right. There it is. It's all mashed up now and soft. So let's start. All right, so I kind of like to think, well, which one do I like the look of best? I think we'll go like that. Which looks the flattest? I think that one does. All right, now what we do is we get the custard, put it on the top. Oh my God, can you believe you're going to be making your own vanilla slices? It might look a lot, but when you're eating it, it certainly is just to die for. I was very excited when I created this healthy version of a good old Aussie classic. I want to get all that out. There we go. Now what you need to do is, I so want to lick my finger right now. There we go. But I won't. You're going to push it down so you're getting it to the edge. So once you've made it once, you'll be right, okay? But don't be fearful because it is easy. All right, so we're going around. As I said, pushing it so you've got it to the edge and in the corner. That's looking pretty good. If any is overlapping, just bring it in. Now what you do is you get your top and push it down reasonably firmly. Yeah. And then I go around with my butter knife or any sort of flat knife you have and smooth out the edges. Look at that. Is that amazing or what? All right, now all we have to do is make our icing. Now I've sifted the flour, icing sugar already. I've got a teaspoon of skim milk. I want 1/8 teaspoon of vanilla essence. Now, I'm doing it with just pink icing because to me a vanilla slice was always had a pink top. But I have done it with passion fruit. So if you're doing passion fruit, do not put the milk or the vanilla in. Just put a teaspoon or so of passion fruit, fresh passion fruit. Then, if you wanted to, you could also make it white, you know, and just don't put the pink in. But it's just 1 drop, okay? 1 drop, that's all you want, 1. Boom, okay? I've seen some very bright pink icings, but look here, you'll see that it's definitely pink enough. And what I'll do is I'm going to ice it. See, it should be a little bit runny. And then and put it in the fridge. And then all you have to do is, once the icing has set, you can then cut it into 4 serves. Yes, you're welcome. I mean, who knew weight loss could be so deliciously healthy? And yes, you still get a vanilla slice, even on a healthy program. As I said, remember, 1 drop of pink. If you're using red, it will be a bit stronger in colour. And then you just push it to the side. Edges, not too far over, or it'll run into the custard. And it's just the right amount. When you make it, you'll see what I mean. Look at that. Scrape your ladle thing. I always like to get it so it's, everyone's got a little bit of icing. Look at that, perfect. Oh my gosh, am I a clever girl or what? Okay, so there is our vanilla slice. As I said, once it's set, you just get your knife, sharp knife, just slowly go through it and you'll get your 4. It's not suitable to be frozen. It's one of those ones, why would you? You'll eat it all. And the great thing is the variations are listed here for you. So it says for passion fruit icing, replace milk and vanilla essence with around 1.5 teaspoons of fresh passion fruit pulp and mix in well. Or for dairy-free custard, replace with skim milk with unsweetened almond. So you've got that there if you need it. And as I said, remember, just 1 drop. Now, if you would like to win book More Cooking for One or Two, it's in the recipe. Oh, there's my pastry. Let me get it out. So I just felt it was quicker to do this straight up with you guys and have it already done. But you can now see, boom! There you go. So let me take this so you can see it, because it's very hot. So there are your sheets of the pastry. See how it stays flat? Because you've put that on. If it didn't, it would puff up and it wouldn't work with the vanilla slice. I would take this off now and put it on a rack because it's cooked enough. And so that's ready. And once that's cooled, so custard first, maybe. Yep, make your custard first. Then you do this. It doesn't take long for it to cool, and then you can start. I mean, my gosh, how fantastic. And if you want to win book More Cooking for One or Two, all you have to do is like, share, and then in the comments, write Simply Too Good, hashtag Simply with a Y, Too Good. 3 people will get a personally signed copy of the More Cooking for One or Two. I mean, vanilla slice. You're welcome. Guilt-free. Now, what am I making on next week's show? Well, I am making Mexican meatballs. Now, this is one of the ones out of the top 50 that is brilliant. It's in book 1. It's a classic. Perfect for going into the silly season for party food. I'll tell you about it on the show. It is an easy, fabulous recipe. Now, don't forget to go to the Simply Too Good to Be True website, simplytoogood.com.au. Remember, I'm selling the coconut essence now. If you've had trouble in the past, you can go direct with me now. And for more tips and recipes, that's where you go as well. So thanks for joining me today. And I've got to say it again. Who knew weight loss could be so vanilla slicey? I tell ya. See you next week. Bye.